Alright, let's start this party. It's called geocoding. Oh yeah, I need some noise. Alright, how's everyone?
Good.
Trying to figure out, trying to figure out who's new in this class. I have not met you. Everyone else I met this morning, I think.
I know you, but this is my first time with you in class.
And it's not Jesus, it's Louis. Because Jesus took that class. Alright, let's get rid of these guys. I need space, I run around a lot. So. Alright, let's do this. Welcome to my class, and once this computer is liking me. As I said, computer likes me. Land use planning and project design, or short, site planning. To make it easier with the book we're using in this class, well, this is the book I refer to. Some folks dropped an email, hey, can I use the hard copy? This is about 300 pages more. They are not completely aligned in the size. You got the green one. You got the larger version. I do strongly recommend to get the hard paper copy. It's a short and easy read. It's published in 1963. It is as important and current in the industry, in philosophy on site planning and landscape architecture than it was published yesterday. We will have two guest speakers in this class. Both are board members. One is Tony Treller. He used to run the board for years. He will give a presentation on the 9th. We'll take a look probably at master plan communities as part of his expertise and background. And then later in September we will have Kona Cray, who is the principal partner at EDSA Planning, which is a landscape and planning architectural company downtown Florida, Fort Lauderdale, headquartered. They're doing international work on particular resort town planning and resort planning. They're building whole cities nowadays, like millions of people cities, where Central Park in New York City is one element of a new planned community, but they're, I think, adding 16 Central Parks, or 32, 16 Central Parks or something like this, as a linear park feature next to each other. Yeah? So, blow your mind in terms of scale. What I want to do today is, the second time we kick off the class. If you're taking the online class, you already heard the kickoff with the out of sync audio on it, but it's fine. What we're doing today is course overview on the syllabus work. The reason why I'm doing this, you heard this already maybe this morning, I want to make sure that everyone is in the clear what I expect from you guys in terms of assignments, deadlines, how I do give the grades, etc. Then we're doing a lecture and exploring on what is land use planning. Because I'm the guy who walked into the room, not from the front door, but from the back door. I'm teaching real estate development, but I'm actually not a real estate person. I'm by education a geographer, a public policy, urban affairs guy, and a regional planner. To just sum up the last graduate degrees. I've been teaching community and regional planning in Idaho. And I came here to teach real estate development. Yeah? Because I was one of those nagging students in my PhD program asking for more econ in class, more real estate in class. My dissertation is actually about real estate. The economic optimization of mixed-use development inside a vertical building, not along the shopping mall. Yeah? So I spent some significant time to think about this whole thing where planners are having deficits and where real estate guys have deficits, and I tried to merge that and got the doctorate out of that. That's 5 years in short. Yeah? So what is land use planning? And we will learn about everyone's little bit background, how they have been exposed to the real estate industry or not. And maybe if they do actually work in the real estate industry right now by education or by profession. And the idea of land use planning, and why I push this class as a land use or site planning class, is at the end of this 8 weeks, you need to understand this communication thing. Yeah? Not just how you present visually and orally and in writing, but also that the planner in the city next door is not your enemy. If you want to come in and build multi-tenant apartments, huh? You want to talk about, hey, how I'm going to do the site plan, how I'm going to do the rezoning, how I'll get all the applications done, you got to sit down with a new partner. That is typically town manager or economic development manager and or the planner, depending on the size of the town. Maybe it's one person with 3 jobs. Yeah? So how do you deal with the 10, 40 or 100 acre development you're putting in place? Huh? Communication. The worst thing that can happen is that you're actually doing a planning and zoning meeting where we do go through legal procedures, and you have a nicely dressed in a suit, geared up engineer or even a lawyer showing up. And they never met the staff from the city. Having nice cardboard diagrams saying, hey, this is what we're going to plan to build. As a planner, you just say, no. And we're talking about that, we have no idea really. Paperwork defined is okay, but we have more questions. Let's ask those questions now, instead of the last 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time. Yeah? And the staff report will read that way. Yeah? Because every planning department will submit a staff report and recommendation by staff towards the Planning and Zoning Commission. They do the vote on if you get rezoning, let's say from agricultural to commercial or to residential land use. Yeah? And after that vote, you go next process. We had, in summer, we had a bunch of field trips, and one lesson learned during this field trip was, we heard a story about a building being put on hold for, was it half a year or no, years? Remember the tower at Styles? Yeah. Because of planning and design issues. Because someone wanted to design a parking garage like this way, and the city said, no, we want this way, and shade was the problem. How this building will actually drop shade, and about the design. Talk, communicate. I've been helping the planning department in my professional career, just sitting down with real estate developers and saying, hey, we have this new mall we want to put in at the south end of the town, but we want to impose a new policy on the signage. We don't want 50 different signs in different sizes. We want one nice display, like almost like a pole, like a tower, and the magnets are on the top, and depending on the square footage rented out to the others, to the VCs, we're going to give them signs. And it's going to be illuminated overnight, so you see it, but around 10 or 11 o'clock we shut it down. That kind of level of communication was proposal to council, council signed off on it in the same day, pretty much. That was next meeting. No discussion asked, easy going, because it was very transparent, very friendly, communicated. Huh? That's the way I try to run my classes, friendly and communicated. We're talking about site planning 101, yeah? And beyond with Lynch. This guy is really brilliant because you can read between the lines. There's so much stuff between the lines you can argue. It's almost like philosophy. Yeah? Another great book by Kevin Lynch is The Image of the City. If you have a little bit of time, Thanksgiving, after the turkey. That's Friday, it's a quick read. It's beautiful, it has a lot of little tiny sketches in it, so actually the visual learning person will remember things. Yeah? What we're going to talk about is the assignment number 1, which is going to be if we do next week. And then we're dealing with urban plan. Urban plan are these Lego Duplo blocks. Yes, I'm going to bring in a game. Sounds childish, the video is about high school kids who are watching the video, but the challenge to make life in a classroom really, really interesting is to have real-world examples, hardcore mathematics, or really fun. The real world example this time with the timing for it to going into fall didn't really work out perfectly. I would have had a project in November, but not now. Yeah? So depends on the industry cycles. We will figure it out. So what I want to do is an urban plan is from the Urban Land Institute from ULI, actually a game theory role play setup, where every student gets a specific role assigned. That's the reason why you get this student handbook. Yeah? Basically giving you a few pages of description. What is your role going to be? City liaison, financial planner, yeah? Site planner. And then within that framework, you're going to fight and hug it out with your teammates. Yeah? Because you basically are like a small redevelopment agency and working for the bidding process with that city, proposing redevelopment in the whole neighborhood. You have the social components, you have the economic components, you have the real estate components in this. So believe it or not, at the first session you're like, yeah, this guy's cuckoo, playing with Lego blocks. I had last semester when we did the airport project, 2 students ranting, that disappointment that they didn't have Legos. We played with $500 million investments and how to shift them around and see 10, 15 years the impact for it, which is great, really great, particularly if you had the non-disclosure agreement signed and you were not allowed to talk to anyone, because you might actually, if you would give an interview to the press, you might actually blow up the current approval process. So it was really, really fun. Challenging. I had alumni yesterday complaining about the press release about the project, and they wanted to come here for the presentations. I'm like, sorry, non-disclosure agreements. Yeah? And I got an email back. I hate those NDAs. It's common practice. If you do consulting, I would think right now, if you're really good in consulting, 85% of your work is an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Why you're doing this project, you're not allowed to talk about it, and with good luck, you are allowed to talk about it after the project is completed, years after your consulting work. Yeah? So, hold your horses, be patient. This is really cool, because this is, I think, even more extreme learning experience in terms of teamwork, team spirit, communication with teams, than actually a project from the outside, because it's more controllable, therefore more friction. Yeah? You're going to love and hate each other. Promise. All right. This is today's agenda, but pretty much a semester. Course description we had. All right. We got to do some formal things. Let's do introductions. So who's this guy talking to you right now? Some of you, not everyone knows, maybe. I'm Dr. Thomas Würzer, Associate Professor of Real Estate Development here at the Heisinger College for Business and Entrepreneurship. Cool. You know this. What's your name? Yeah.
I'm Fallon.
Fallon, nice to meet you. Everyone else has had me this morning, didn't you? Yes?
I'm the only one?
No, I didn't.
All right. Who are you?
Evan?
Evan?
Evan,
Yeah. Evan, yeah. You're in a t-shirt. Last time I saw you in a suit for the interview, remember? All right.
Pressure,
Fine. All right. For you guys. So, originally from South Germany, master's joint degree in geography, actually in city planning at the end. That got me a ticket with GIS to come to the University of Delaware. I got my master's in urban affairs and public policy, urban planning degree. There's a long title at the end. They put Master of Arts on it, on a diploma, big piece of paper. And worked as a planner, and land use planner and GIS guy in the state of Delaware for a while. And as being international with work visa issues, always had the opportunity to leave the country to go back to Europe and work there as a planner, and or apply for another graduate degree program. Opted out to go for a PhD, and today I got my acceptance letter for the University of Cincinnati. My mentor and dear friend Dave Haag looked at it and said, "Yeah, get out of here." With a few months still on the schedule, I think it was April. Yeah, get out of here. I don't want to see you anymore. He basically kicked me out of his own town. Yeah? he presented last April here for fun. So, how to say that? He can be really grumpy, but I love him. He is awesome. Make the point that he's my mentor. He did 50 years of planning and is still planning. He retired in December, and in February he started talking to the city of Dover in Delaware about being their new city planner or planning manager, and I think still he is the acting planning director there. Yeah? So it's a typical example of, you're about 75, you retire, and 3 days later someone calls you up again for a new job. I have a lot of friends who retired at 60 and they're more busy now with 60 and 75 than they have been with 50. Because the same thing works in smaller states and communities on the planning world, like we do here in South Florida with networking in real estate development. Your name, your reputation is a brand. I had a huge discussion when I first taught this class face-to-face about how to leave a legacy. What's more important, that $1 million contract you have one time and you're out, or you have a series of really cool projects that don't pay too much, but everyone knows you did this, you did that project. You failed with this one, but you did great with this one. Yeah? So building a reputation and a legacy in the long run for your business is probably more sustainable and healthy for yourself than trying to get the big bucks in just a short project time and you're out. Everyone who will come into all of your classes to talk about their successes and failures in their lives, they're persistent, they're consistent, working on being better and stand up the next day after a failure on the same moment. In the GIS class, I said you run with 120 miles per hour against the wall, drop down, or you stand up, take a step back, look at it, and work it out. You know? So be consistent. You know? And for planners, I will say you're like this pop-up clown. Yeah, there was a gonzo, like a ball on the bottom, a weight, you push the clown on the face, it bounces back and forward, because you have to deal with the public politics on that. Yeah? So that's joke aside. I got my doctorate in regional planning in the University of Cincinnati, scholarship on GIS. That was pretty fun. Taught for 5 years in the state of Idaho, community and regional planning. They decided they don't need this department anymore and shut us down from one day to the other day. And the real estate mixed-use component that I had all the time with me actually brought me here to Idaho, Florida. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. That's the last 13 years, almost exactly for the weekend, 13 years in about 5 to 10 minutes. If you have questions about that, I can help you sometime. All right, what we're going to do is I'm going to take quick introductions and attendance. Basically everyone, not as in-depth as we did this morning because we need to watch the time a little bit more. Who are you for your classmates? Who are you? Where are you coming from originally, if you're from, let's say, out of state or in state, and maybe current profession or past degree. Yeah? Hi.
Hi, I'm Carlos Carrion. I'm from Puerto Rico. Moved here last year to study pharmacy, and after 1 year in the program, I decided to make a career change. And I work since this summer as a real estate agent for a company called REE.
You want to go next? Sure. Okay.
My name is Payman, also known as Cash. It's easier. Born in Iran, raised here, go back and forth to Miami, and I have a bachelor's of science in supervision management. And I always did real estate, and hopefully I can continue becoming one of the big developers, so we can hire Dr. Who.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Grant. I got my Bachelor's of Science in Landscape Architecture at West Virginia University. I'm from Pittsburgh, PA originally, and I'm a site planner and landscape architect up in West Palm Beach.
Hi, my name's RJ. I just moved here from Philadelphia. In addition to being a student here, I'm also the graduate assistant, like Dr. Forby said. and just a note on some of the events that we have coming up. In addition to what they showed us, I'm going to send out some more for the rest of the semester, and just let you know that I will be attending all of them, so just know that you have someone else there with you. You're not getting thrown into the fire alone, so that's pretty much all I got.
Hello everyone, my name is Kathleen Boston. I'm actually a teacher's assistant at a STEM K-8 school in Margate. I actually currently doing a little bit of real estate marketing with a company in Pompano Beach. My bachelor's degree is in health services administration. However, I've changed fields from the health sector of healthy living to the real estate. In terms of becoming a lifestyle investor, I like to encourage people to live their best lives, whether it be by eating healthy or just making the best decision for your life, and by becoming financially independent, if that's one thing. So I like to teach and educate and consult and plan and do a lot of things. So right now I'm going into real estate development. This is just my path to my lifestyle journey. So, thank you.
Welcome. And don't forget, breathe and focus. If you have too many things going on in life, breathe and focus, and then you gotta consider a few things in your life. Okay.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Who are you?
I'm Katarina. I'm prior military. Moved down here from the DC area. Was government contracting, Department of Defense. So good real estate investments up in DC. And now down here, I have a 15-year limit on my GI Bill, and it's about to run out. So might as well get formal education in real estate. So all of it has been kind of on the job training.
All right, cool. Welcome. Evan.
My name's Evan. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I have some work experience working for a real estate developer in Toronto, and I'm also a real estate agent as well. And I just moved here and I'm starting the program. And I did my undergrad in business and finance up in Canada.
All right.
Hi, my name is Luis Mendez. I've been in the US for 7 years. I'm originally from Venezuela. My undergrad was in business administration with focus on strategic management, and I also did a second undergrad on economics. I've been in the program since 2016. I haven't finished because I'm taking it slow. I also been working for small and medium-sized developers for the last 3 years. I've been involved in site plan approval process, financial and market feasibility analysis, construction, and close out at the end. Thank you.
Cool. Welcome. Hi.
Hi everybody, my name is Derek Cotton. You guys can call me D. I am an operations director and a senior litigation paralegal for a residential and commercial property damage firm in Fort Lauderdale. I am in this program because I want to one day have my own developing firm, and also I'm going to law school after this, and will focus on real estate law and touching into entertainment, and I also want to have a law firm as well, so tying all that together.
Busy plans. Hi.
I'm Mariana Steins. I'm a realtor, currently getting my broker's license, and I joined the program to stand apart from the other million realtors in South Florida. Gain more knowledge. So.
The other 20 million minus one. My name is Danilo. I have been in real estate for 14 years. I am a real estate broker. I have my own company, small company. And halfway through the program, I'll be graduating in the summer. And I wanted to look at the program to give me, more breadth and know exactly what's all the real estate that's up there, because residential real estate is just a very small piece. So that's why.
And if you talk to people in the industry, residential real estate is a pain. So that's the interpretation. So commercial is way better. If you build residential is okay, but don't broker it. It's like painful. Like, this is not a real estate agent classroom. That's the bottom line. We're getting exposed to the development side and the commercial side to do that. It's not like, hey, I'm a commercial my real estate agent's license now, and I can sell you a single family home in Weston. No, this is not it. We have students that are paying their bills with this and are successful with it. Yeah? But you're not getting your real estate agent license with us. Okay, half the class from me, so.
But
All right.
Half the
it's
class
not
are
true
gonna read now.
Wait, what?
Is it true that if you have your master's, if you have your MRED degree, you don't need to, you can become a broker directly?
No.
It's an accredited university.
Yeah,
what?
they have different paths.
Yeah.
Accredited?
It has to be an accredited university of 4 years or your master's, but it has to be approved.
There are different mechanisms and
Yeah.
policy and regulations that need to be in place. We're actually in the middle of getting accredited for the WACSB, which is the International Association for Business Schools. We actually have a bonus program with CRE credits, don't we? Yeah, that's a fast track program we have. Dr. Foggy knows all those details and the regulations of that.
Because I went to University of Texas before I came to sign up at Nova, and the only reason I didn't go there because I had to pay out of state, and it was just a ridiculous amount of money that I had to pay. But the thing was that with that degree, they said you can actually, you come straight a broker, you don't become an agent.
I don't know about that exactly. I do
So
refer
some you
to.
can, yeah. I'm taking the broker's class right now, that's how I know.
You usually have to take a course.
Yeah.
Here in Florida, you have to take a course as a real estate agent
Yeah.
and then work for a broker for 2 years, and then you can take the broker's license.
Yeah, I know, I have the real estate agent thing, I have the license, I don't use it, but I have that. But
Right.
for the brokerage, they say if you get your master's in MRED, you don't even need to go the 2
I
years span, you don't need.
Once you have the degree, then you send the degree and your, what is it, your classes and your grades
So the
to the
transcript.
DBPR, and then they'll.
They'll decide, okay.
And Fred Foggy will know more
Yeah,
about that
that's
than I do.
I mean,
Or ask your fellow classmates. I don't have that knowledge in this case. I gotta focus on
All
other
these
things.
things.
Hi.
Oh, introduction again?
Yeah. Typically in every class, you do that. Particularly, it's your first day here. So yes, and then wake up. There's coffee. No, there's no coffee.
Alan, again, I'll do a little more in depth. So I work with my family, and we have like our real estate strategy where we'll purchase commercial plazas that aren't fully rented, use a certain space to build a retail business to generate traffic and rent out the rest of the plaza.
Cool. Interesting concept. Paul, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Paul Tachi. I'm probably one of the only native South Floridians you meet in your lifetime. 47 years old. I grew up here in town. I was born in Miami, but grew up here in Fort Lauderdale. Midlife career change. I was in medical device sales, worked with surgeons in operating rooms, and did that for quite a long time, but technology changed, and it changed at such a rapid pace that a lot of companies eliminated sales forces completely. It's just not necessary anymore. So that left me out of a job for quite a while. Real estate, family has a couple properties, so I was somewhat familiar with it. Real estate license. Have a business degree, business background, but no commercial firm would hire me because of my inexperience in real estate. It was valuable. So I had to start out in a residential firm. It was not for me. I took it on myself to start studying commercial real estate, and just was captivated, might be a good word, enamored. I mean, because it's multifaceted, a lot of moving parts and so many different aspects of it that you could transition into for a career.
Paul, going to interrupt
Yeah.
you here. I'm going to keep it short. I really need to push the time scale. Paul is an excellent example for work hard, study hard, and you succeed. He, if I may say, he had some really rough time in my GS class in the beginning. Stomped down with one foot, stomped down the other foot, had a quick talk with me, and he was one of the best students at the end of the class. So hard work. So, it's a good compliment.
Thank you.
Ed,
Well, my name is Eduardo. You can call me Ed. I'm from Brazil. I'm a real estate broker in Brazil. But as I can see, we have a lot here, so I can get a job. I'm happy. Well, my background is in law, actually, my graduate, but I have a master's in MBA as well. And now I just moved to Fort Lauderdale 2 weeks ago, and ready to start here. That's it. You can call me.
alright, call me, maybe. Alright, this was fun. Did we have, no, sorry.
So I'll just be real quick. My name is Diego. I have an MBA here from Nova in international business. Currently work in sales on a domestic and global scale. And I want to combine that international business background with sales and take on projects internationally like payment cash service. Maybe we can work together.
Anytime.
Fallon, hi.
Hi everybody, I'm Fallon. I did undergrad at FIU. I am a realtor also. I'm actually in property management, but I've done every style of property management. So right now I'm a property manager in downtown Fort Lauderdale. I actually have more than one site. So I'm only doing the program part-time because property management is intense, and I lately in the last few years specialized in new construction. So I latch on at the end of the development process and come in through the TCO, COs, lease up, stabilization, and take it in at that stage and pull it forward. So my particular employer is very, he has a lot of activity in the residential real estate development all over the nation. So in the last few years, I've been getting the itch, digging more off the surface, and getting closer to the developers at the company. So to make that jump, I gotta get through some more credentials. So.
What is like the property management since you do? Is it like what 10-20% here? What do you know the fees that you guys charge for property management?
It depends. Like my site is 6%. Other sites are 7%.
And that's
like,
all residential though, right?
Yeah, like my high rise is 112 units, and I have another one that's like 100 that's under construction, and it just depends on who does the deal.
Okay, you might want to talk to each other after class. This sounds like he has some ideas to ship
maybe
you
private
overseas
owners are like
to run the show for
10%.
you.
Like maybe
So-
private owners like 10% is the fee.
That's why your name is Cash, right?
It's credit now.
Jokes aside, you guys are loosening up way too much for the first day. Let's talk about serious, non-humor stuff. Alright, land use planning and project design. I'm looking at the syllabus as it's posted on the syllabus manager. I sent that out. I can swear, really swear. I sent out to every class the PDF from the syllabus manager and the schedule attached. The GIS class, and I think this class got mixed up. I don't know why. But
We did receive like 20.
but you received the schedule with the wrong syllabus. So open up the folder, take the Word document, fine. Now you get it as well in black. And this is the version we're using. Yeah. Again, this is a quick repeat. There's variations from this morning. This is the class. This is the class that deals with site planning and land use planning. If you think I'm talking about, let's say, dentistry, you're in the wrong class. Yeah. Mentioned earlier this morning as well, my name is Dr. Thomas Würzer. My email is twürzer@nova.edu. That's different than from yours at the end. This is my office phone number. When I'm in the office, I will pick it up. When not, I get my voicemail. I'm technically challenged with my voicemail. Took me about 3 or 4 months to set up the password. I still have to look it up. It's a weird system here. I'm really fast in responding in emails usually. For my online class, I keep telling the students between 6 minutes and 6 hours. If it's 6 hours, it's during a busy day or I actually finally sleep. I try to be as responsive as possible. I think this class is more personal communication before and after class, but let's say the online class, market analysis, is heavy on emails. And office hours. Yeah, if you send me an email that addresses an issue for everyone, I will send that to everyone out as through the Blackboard. Yeah, so don't check your Gmail addresses. It's only Nova email. All grade-related communication is all Nova email. If you send me your Gmail address, oh, you did something wrong in the quiz, give me more points. First of all, that is not the proper way of language to ask for a regrade. And second, if it's a Gmail address, yeah, I might do it, but I actually have to inform you that this is not the way I can communicate about that. I know with iPhones you never really know where is the email coming from, which one you send out, but pay a little bit attention to the detail. Office hours. This will change in mid-October, but for now, Thursdays 4 till 6 o'clock in this building, 3rd floor, room 37. It's just like down the hallway, and before you hit Dr. Foggy's office, I'm the one with the funny poster at my door. Yeah? With GIS poster. What else? Yeah? I also offer late evening or early evening office hours this semester, because we actually have now, after a year of bargaining and figuring out, we actually have a library. The challenge was not to get the computer lab. The challenge was not to get the money for the license. The challenge was to figure out who has no license and what license on campus. It's painful. But I'm doing Tuesday 6 till 8 p.m. This is office hours for every student in all of my classes. Yeah? So it's not just a GIS class because it's the GIS computer lab. It's also this class. If you have questions about this class, do that. We're doing a Lego block. So there's group work involved. Actually, we have 16 students. 5 should be a team. I actually want to build 3 teams. So we can split them up. That's the reason why we're in this room, because we can shift. Usually we can shift throughout those tables. They actually change a little bit, but we can work that out. So we actually have a group table, we can split. It's going to be fun, because in the second or third session, when you start doing like your own business ideas, you're starting to whisper. So the other team is not listening how you're going to develop that other block. At the end of the class, someone is screaming out 18%, and you hear the laptops on the other group going wild, like, they have 18, we only have 17. Yeah? Telling us liberal blocks, but they are a lot of fun. Yeah? So office hours, I will change that after the GIS class is done, because I don't teach in the second fall. So I'm teaching, changing the presence on my schedule as well, presence on campus. Alright, course description. In case you haven't read that yet, we're dealing with the role of planning and development process. And the part of it is to introduce you to the disciplines that are involved in these efforts. Yeah? And in doing so, I try to give you the idea of that we identify the techniques and principles that are involved in site planning. Since we have a different schedule now, I will also give, and this is the reason why we have the claimant book, which is upstairs, really big, heavy book, on real estate law. Yeah? That real estate law book will be used in the other classes as well. In all the other classes, you can use it actually to find keywords and just definitions. But in the real estate law class, we're going to use it, I think that's in winter one. Yeah? So if you buy it now, keep it for half a year and use it in the class, keep it for over Christmas in the bookshelf and pull it out again. Yeah? We're using 3 or 4 chapters as part of the readings. We're using all of its content in the beginning. All the basics of land use regulations, you actually have a specific lecture for that. I will touch and open up that can of worms, like pinch it. Yeah? Because for site planning, we need to have certain understanding on the development process, like a rezoning application. Yeah? What does this mean, having a setback? Small things. I try to put a few fun Supreme Court cases in place. The second assignment we're doing as a graphics design creative assignment is actually based on an eminent domain case. Like, click, 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 they got is an eminent domain case. We're going to have a quick introduction to that. Yeah? So the second book, this is the main book, gotta have that. For the second book, you, in theory, you could say, okay, let's share it. I don't know, is it $100 right now? Yeah. If you don't have the money right now, share it with a friend and study hard together and then buy it for the next semester. Yeah? In terms of learning outcomes, this is very firm, only 3 ones. Significant impacts on the environment. That is also the human and physical character. Communication, communication, communication with that planning person. Okay, planners are not your enemy. I am your friend. No? If I identify myself as a planner. No? And we're talking about the performance type of development throughout this class. No? And then exam, visualization, introductions, presentation skills. I named the books already. Here, we're using part 6, and then the specific sections out of that. No? Urban Land Institute, I do recommend that you print out the building types. Yeah? There's a bunch of pages where it actually shows which block description of the building type, even colorize those building type blocks. Don't laugh, it helps, because we're actually going to put those pieces together. The bare minimum is to print out the building types, and for that as well, I actually printed out the color descriptions for later for you guys, so you guys have that. Course schedule. Well, it's Saturdays, afternoon. I already have here the submission stuff in there with the ID number. Again, I repeat this from this morning. Every assignment I want you to submit to me should have your ID number on that, not your name. So next week's assignment is actually going to be a reverse engineering, or reverse creative design. I give you actually a city plan, and you need to color the city plan a little bit more in a minute. I don't want your name on it. I don't want to read a Lewis on it. I want to read Lewis's number. Because then I have a pile of images or documents, literally papers, and I can look at it and the half-page documentation we attach to it, read through this, and then put that in my grading sheet. And then use those points, transfer them into Blackboard, so you know what you got on the result. And keep electronic copies or give you the hard copy back. The reason why I'm doing this is I want to be as objective as possible. I don't want to know who is who. I just want to know this is one of my students' excellent work or not so great work. Excellent work.
So you want
Great.
just the 4-digit number, you don't want the initial?
No. Yeah, UN number.
Oh yeah, just the number, not the, okay.
Not the acronym for
This
the
is
email.
P, like mine is like PM1056.
No, that's your email.
Okay.
Your N number, your student ID number.
The 09 whatever.
Yeah, that number.
So I just have a question, because we're supposed to submit a cover page with our assignments, correct?
Okay, you're going to color a page with crayons or pen. There's no way that you have to submit a cover page with that. The cover page is pretty much for every assignment you're stating that you didn't vectorize or
Right.
cheat it. Some of you guys can do that, some of you don't. But all the graphics, your handwriting and your scribble style is on there, and it's okay. Contrary to all the plagiarism talk, I strongly believe this is graduate school. We're all adults and professionals. We get this together done. You know, the cover page is usually, I would say, for everything else, but the graphics, drawings and stuff. Cover page is maybe for a team report that you make sure that you didn't plagiarize and copy and paste from Wikipedia.
Okay.
I had that. No joke. I had folks copy and pasting materials from Wikipedia. With do I look funny?
The Wikipedia part is funny though.
It's not. That student is not anymore in this program.
Yeah, the smartest person in the world.
It's not.
Yeah.
And it takes a full day for me to prove that I'm right and you're wrong with your Wikipedia. I'm not joking when it comes to the hell is freezing over and it's really, really cold down here. Please understand that. I'm not joking. And the reason why I found out is because I used my mouse and moved over the PDF, and it changed the mouse. Active hyperlinks in the submission document. Literally, you click on it and you jump to the Wikipedia page as reference. That's one of the examples of really bad student conduct. Huh? I am not humorous about that. Actually, you can say almost goosebumps. I have no problems to give you the F. If I can show you, this is the sentence you used, and this is how I write this. Sentence used in your first paragraph. This is what I find with Google or other search tools. Second sentence, this is the source. The third sentence, this is the alternate source variation. Even not, if it's word by word, I just give the source. If not, it's paraphrased. I had a student, I did this for one paragraph out of 12 pages, and said, enough proof, first page down, I refuse to, I don't need to prove more. Plagiarism stated, boom. I write this stuff as it holds up against you in court. And I'm not kidding. Sorry. All right, let's talk about fun stuff in this class. You get, it sounds funny. Please understand, it's not. It's the most painful time for me as an educator to actually sit down from moving from the, ooh, this is interesting. Something is really weird here. Yeah? Most of the plagiarism in my career I found was because this is a little bit too well written for the topic we cover. Like you write a Nobel Prize thriller language, or copy and paste in online quizzes. Format changes, gray background in the copy and paste. So I create the answer and see format changes, different font size. So please don't. It upsets me even to talk about it 2 or 3 years after cases like this. The last thing you want is having a professor giving a chopping dead of a heart attack. Well, you're a rescue diver. You can help me out. All right, what are we going to do in this class? The way I structure my classes or syllabi is we run it by session, focusing on the main topic. That might change a little bit with the subcategories, but I also give the most important assignments to it. I usually run, or I do run the understanding that you read this before you come to class. I know first session, Blackboard was open I think on Wednesday, it might have not worked out. Those are quick and easy reads. This is part of what we're doing and covering today and next week. I strongly urge you to do those readings. We are going to have a midterm exam. The Green Kevin Lynch book is part of the midterm exam. The legal stuff, claimant, is part of the midterm. Huh? Deadline, I did hear someone was nervous about the deadline. Like Friday night, we had to submit something for yesterday. That was not the case. You mentioned that. Next week, 1st of September. And the reason why I put Friday deadlines here for this class is at 8 a.m. we kick off with GIS. Short lunch break, 12:30 we meet here. If I want to use your material, let's say the creative reverse design, as part of the educational process, I need to find a minute, probably almost an hour, to take the images you submitted, and it's good enough to take a picture with the phone. You don't have to put it on a high-end scanner. Prefer, but if you finish this on Friday at 5 p.m., don't run back to the office or to a friend's house and scan it. Put it with good light on the table, take a nice picture so it doesn't really school too much, and take that. Give me the hard copy the next day. The reason why I want to have these submissions by 8 p.m. on Friday is sometime Friday of 8 a.m. class, probably like at 10 p.m., not later than that. But the latest, I try to do that actually right after 8 and then go to bed. We're going to put a PowerPoint together, for which I invite everyone whose picture is up there to tell the story and your ideas why you did this. So every two of these assignments will actually write a vision statement or justification of why are you doing this. Yeah? As an example, if you're going to have a plank, this way here, we're taking a look at it. Yeah, reverse design assignment, general purpose, setting a task, and there's certain rules about how to submit that. So for next week, this is from one of those coloring for adults city planning books. Don't look it up. I can give you a copy if you want to. But the idea is now you're looking at this map. You read the map with the understanding, this is part of the first 2 chapters of reading, what are the energy flows of the site? Yeah, the feng shui of the site. Literally there's an explanation about Chinese developers would actually send some Zen mastery to the site and actually experience the energy flows. And no kidding, Kona Cray and his team, they did actually projects in China, and they will start out with a nice bridge showing you, oh, this is a full bridge nicely done with bamboo. But then he will tell you a story that it took weeks to figure out what kind of directions each building will have because of the feng shui and the energy spirits of the site. And everyone who read the chapter 1 2 or 3 weeks earlier is like, energy flow on the site? That's so 60s. Yeah? No, it's a project done the last 5 to 10 years. Yeah? So keep that in mind. There's a lot of material between the lines. Yeah? So experience the shape, the alignments, yeah? Print it out on letter. Don't buy super expensive crayons, yeah? Those architectural pieces. The wax crayons for the kids in kindergarten will not work because it's really small stuff. Get some different colors. You can assign color codes. This helps you a little bit. What is kind of an international color code and what we're leaning to. Like typically yellow is residential. Blue and red sometimes differ. In this context, we actually have red for retail office buildings as blue. You can assign these color codes and groupings as you wish. Per your definition of, this gives me constraints on form, but not on creativity and function. Yeah, I'm already speaking like Lynch. Limits me in the form, because you have something smaller here, you can't be creative. And I always encourage to read the assignments at least twice to deal with this. Yeah? So at the end, next week, I would like to have 2 pieces of paper. One is about the map, the plan here, and then some justification why you choose that. And a map has a legend. So if you choose pink as a color, then you will have to have on the side showing a pink symbol and saying, this is my 6-year-old kindergarten structure, as an example. Or you say, okay, fine, I have shaded areas. Oh, okay. So it's like this. So you even can say, okay, fine, I don't want to have a solid color. I do it like this for certain overlays. Yeah? Be creative. Let's say it like this. This is a no default, no fail exercise. The only way to fail this exercise is not to submit anything. Or just to have like 2 splashes of color in it. And I want you to do it by hand. Yeah, there are certain accuracy issues here and there maybe, but I want you to do it by hand because the creative function by hand is way more pushed than scan it and click it on a computer. Don't fill it out on a computer. I give you actually negative points on your work. And it says in the assignment. Important. There are certain limitations in this classroom setup within the program here for this class. Time-wise, Saturday afternoons, 8 times. It's barely the time you need for what we would call a planning studio, where we will have big tables and start drawing big plans. So see these exercises as the tiny pieces that fill the gap of having, instead of drawing a big master plan. It feeds into your skill sets to draw larger pictures, but you gotta fiddle on a few ones. The only complaint about assignment 1 I had in the past was I spent 3 or 4 hours scribbling on it. But I think 3 or 4 hours for an A++ is perfect. And you don't have to write 50 pages. You colorize with thought. Think this through. Think first, then color. And then have a certain agenda with that. Comprehensive planning. Who has experience with comprehensive planning? One of the first things in comprehensive planning, land use planning, comprehensive planning, is over umbrella of the plans for the community is the so-called vision. Part of urban plan, part of this lecture, or the next set of lectures is how to create a vision statement. I have a dream. It's maybe one of the most quoted visions we heard in the political arena in America. Yeah? Or the city, the golden city on top of the hill. What was that? Golden city on top of the hill? Reagan. Yeah? So, certain policy approaches. We want to reach the city, we got to do this. Yeah? Big Apple. Theme of Big Apple, or the vision of Big Apple, New York City is the Big Apple, aka the city that never sleeps. Yeah? I used to live in a town that was Boise, coming from the French word boise, that is tree. It was called the city of trees. It's in the middle of the desert in Idaho, but it's damn green. Everything is irrigated with the water there. And are beautiful trees, hundreds of years old. So we're going to develop a vision statement. Part of your group work is actually going to be a vision, has to have a vision. Yeah? Because every team, every company has some logo or mission statement. The mission statement is built on the vision. Like, oh, I want to make the big bucks. Okay, how do you operationalize that? Again, part of the legacy talk I had earlier is that your sustainable vision for a really good company? Yeah? And if you look at what companies did in the 60s, 70s, and today, their vision and focus changed. There's a reason why Google moved to Colorado. Remember why Google moved to Colorado? It was before that political decision. But maybe they enjoyed it too.
Quality of life.
Quality of life. Yeah? Lifestyle amenities. Quality of life. Maybe that is part of that too. Yeah? But they made this executive decision to move parts and all of the headquarters actually out. Major divisions out. It's a global company. You can place yourself anywhere you want.
And also taxes, because California charges more taxes than
But the story, the big headline on the story of that case is actually they moved because of better skiing, better amenities, mountain biking, hiking, better air, etc., etc. They even have less wildfires, maybe. Yep. So in terms of schedule, next week, this is not going to break your neck, but it asks you to commit some time in the evening to scribble, make a vision and an idea first, take a look at that plan again, identify areas you have a focus on, and then do it. We're going to have on September 9th, we're going to have Tony Drella as a guest speaker. I mentioned it earlier as master planning. We're going following somewhat the chapters of the book. The 16th year, the 7, 8, 9, they are short. There's more intense work actually done through lecture. And since we have team-based group work, I need to find a solid base on your individual assessment, how you do in this class. I have 2 creative assignments with some writing, so it's not just coloring, but it's also how you think and how you sell your idea, and a midterm. Sorry guys, think this is my only class I'm actually giving a midterm in. But I give a study guide to actually expose you to the way I ask questions. And you can be 100% certain of those questions I give on the study guide, at least one is going to be word by word on the exam. And if I repeat something that is important 500 times in this class, you can be certain it comes into the exam. Huh? There are certain definitions I keep repeating and repeating and repeating, and that's maybe that definition you need to have as the opener for your answer. Huh? Hint, hint, hint.
How many questions do you usually put on the midterm?
Only one.
So we have 4 sessions before that. There's 4 major sessions, 7, 8 chapters. What I have done so far, I gave 3 mandatory questions, and the 4th one you could select from 2 or 3 of your choice. And literally you have choose 1 out of the 3, and you have different topics. Because not everyone is really happy, let's say, with noise, ambient forces, and design. Some people like actually more the infrastructure component on it. Yeah? So that you will actually talk about grid management, circulations of flow, and flow systems, and you can answer that. And I'm fair. I think I'm fair with the way I give questions to the exam. So typically, like mandatory 2 or 3, and then pick 1 or 2 to deal with that. Yeah? And I give a study guide in the beginning, like about a week before I actually post that. So I actually know exactly what type of topics we discussed. There's chapter 9 is about housing. So I can foresee a heated discussion, polarizing in both directions, fairly respectfully treated in a professional environment. So no yelling and no name calling. It's completely okay that you live as a 30-year-old white person in an African-American dominant neighborhood. I don't have to call you out names that you gentrified in the neighborhood. Yeah? In this context, we approach all the sides of the facets. Yeah? The claimant, Unit 23, is actually the housing cases in Mount Laurel, Supreme Court cases. Yeah? So we actually talk a little bit about the legal issues on housing, particularly if you deal with housing that borderlines discrimination. Yeah? Like, I'm sorry, your credit score is not good enough, so good luck. Or you are white, I'm not going to rent out for you, to you. Flipping the coin here. I was surprised about that. You actually go through background checks and credit checks in Florida. Yeah. It's like when I interviewed with my homeowner association, or the place I rent out right now, they looked it up and was like, yeah, your credit score is excellent, thank you. I'm like, why is that relevant? It's about giving no credentials about me being an asshole as a neighbor or being awesome baking cookies every Saturday. Sorry for the language, but this is the extreme case here. Yeah? And I think in a professional, respectful environment, we should be able to have that open discussion about how race, income, social status, relative social status, health status, etc. They say that your zip code defines your genetic code now. Tell me your zip code and I tell you your diseases you will face when you talk about health. We should be able to have in a classroom, as an educational environment, we should be able to have this conversation. If not, I fail you as an educator, and vice versa. So, this is going to be an interesting, particularly controls the process, because you will actually come back from your professional life and say, hey, this case happened to me, this won't happen to me, or we are going to do this actually this way. And I'm really blessed that I have a bunch of internationals in this room, not just me. So, like, this is going to be clash of civilizations and cultures.
30 days to be approved.
Yeah? 30 days for what? For visa?
To be approved for the association, the apartment and
I had more paperwork, story. I had more paperwork to fill and deal with for renting a condominium / townhome than to buy, sell, and buy and sell a house in Idaho with all the credit applications and mortgage stuff. Seriously. And it took the same amount than looking and buying and selling over the past years. So it's interesting, very interesting. And something is just like the market area. All right, midterm. Yes, there is a midterm on December 23rd. And there is actually, the midterm is not the problem. That's a piece of cake. Yeah? The problem is my guest speaker. Because it's Saturday and it's really hard to get him into the classroom. He's awesome. Yeah? When I met him during my job interview here, immediately sparked friendship-wise and professionally. He's really, really cool. Love this guy, the stuff he's doing, but he's also really, really busy. And the way I gave him a call, he was out of the country. Email, phone call, out of the country. A week or 2 weeks later, I catch up with him. He literally left the airport when we had this conversation. And I said, okay, fine, I sent you an email, yeah, I saw it. Haven't had time. Bounced back a few ideas on how to schedule. I offered him 3 dates. And the end was, please check with your wife if you can make it that day, and have her decide if she wants to have a 12:30 or 3 p.m. presentation. And the next day I checked in with a text message and he's like 12:30. So the complicated part that will rub on your nerves that day is that we're going to have for about 90 minutes a fantastic resource for your education as a guest speaker. And around 3 p.m., we're taking a break in between. Around 3 p.m. I can give you a midterm. The way I structure my midterm is usually, depending on the questions, I give about 20 minutes per question. And it's 1 page, top has the question on it, blank space, and the backside to be used as blank space if you need so. And that would be, let's say, 15 points possible for 20 minutes writing and thinking. And I will give you that hint as well, that when you actually start, do a brainstorming, write your keywords on the side. So if you are getting lost in your line of thought while writing, I know what are the milestones you had in mind. That helps sometimes. There's this half point or that point on that question you get to bump up a full letter grade.
If you let me interrupt, EDSA is the largest landscape architect company in the world, right?
I'm not sure about that. Really, really good.
They're huge, right?
They're really, really big and good. And guess what? Headquarters is downtown. And that gentleman is director of the advisory board, boss of our board. So speaking of networking, this is that chance to have 90 minutes time of a fantastic person in the room and learn from that person and have a conversation. And maybe even say, hey guys, I would like to have this guy as a mentor or not. You get exposed to two potential mentors in my class this time. Don't know, beginning of fall 1, first 2 weeks of next sessions, if Fred brings in a few guest speakers at the same time. But during the course of your 1-year program, you should be exposed to every board member. That's part of the plan, to have guest speakers here and there. Yeah? My biggest challenge sometimes is guest speakers are awesome, but I also need to push like texts, theory, getting through. Okay? Speaking of getting through. I put the site plan sketch assignment, the second creative part, far out into September. Typically it's the second 2 weeks later. But with the midterm guest speakers and a little bit more time to deliver the framework we need for that and the understanding, I put that in the end. I will post it as soon as possible. It's actually ready, you just need to open it up. No, I did. Did I? Assignment 2 is already open, did I?
Yeah.
So you can actually look at it and read on it. You could in theory start with it, but we add a little bit small finesse and components to the solution during lectures in class. And looking at a lot of pictures, looking at different plans, looking at different experiences helps to say, hey, I really don't want to put just a parking garage on a piece of land. There's a 14-acre property, and it's actually already developed. But I give you the blank to actually contrast your ideas versus what they actually put on the place later on as a comparison. Real world versus your creative ideas. Alright? After this, you will see that the class is going like this, because teamwork is taking over. I give like short introductions, short lectures to tease you on the topic, to inspire you for your teamwork, but at the end we're going to do teamwork presentations. Yeah? There might be a chance to squeeze in another guest speaker. I have to see. It's not planned yet, but I'm planning on 3 teams competing with each other. Right now it's bragging rights. Maybe it's a big piece of pizza, I don't know yet. And the most important part to understand is that you're working with folks you never met before until today. I have not assigned groups yet. I'm just counting down the first 5 by alphabet and make you as a group. This is the way how the industry works. The other really great speaker from EDSA is actually Doug Smith, who's president of EDSA. When he came to this class, he said, teamwork means your ego is outside. You leave your ego at the door. Which was really wonderful to see, because just the hour before he showed up for presenting, I had team members clashing with each other. Like literally like, we need to talk, guys. This is unethical how you do this, unprofessional. And then you have a guest speaker giving a speech about how important it is to leave your ego outside. Don't abandon your ideas, but put away the negative energy to fight for your ideas. Convince and convey your ideas to your fellow teammates. And EDSA is a multi-level, diverse company. That's why I really like this place as well, because they're from all over the country, all over the world. Yeah? With one meaning. We are a great team, we deliver great work. Yeah? Because at the end of the day, they are in early 60s, I think, started out. At the end of the day, yeah, they had some projects that didn't work out. Yeah? But at the end of the day, they leave a legacy because they are one fantastic company. Little tiny things you don't know. They master planned this campus. For Lauderdale, the wave project, the walls, they did that. Atlantis in Nassau, Bahamas, it's one of their major projects. They literally guy walked in on Wednesday afternoon and said, hey, can you give me a 48-hour breakdown on this? And then 48 hours later, they actually had a project pitch and got the bid. Like the guy literally was on vacation in Fort Lauderdale and did swing by. And they built Atlantis, and there are now 2 or 3 across the world. Yeah, so I don't want to take away too much fun story, but this is the guy who's talking then to you guys, or part of this company. So important. All right, and I mentioned that earlier with the talk with Dr. Fallon. There are deadlines in your life, school life and professional life. We have this wonderful award ceremony next week. There was one team disqualified because it didn't get their team report in on time. We did presentations on Thursday nights. I think on Sunday evening, 5 o'clock, there was a Saturday and Sunday, no Thursday nights. And I think on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, they needed to deliver this. Give them time to reflect and make edits. They have been about an hour late after I asked them, hey, where is this? Not using curse words. Or coming back with curse words. It was a very distinct, angry email. Because I was sitting and waiting there to actually deliver the packages to the judges after they listened to the presentation, so they would see the print version of it, the report. About a week later, we had a discussion about that. First by email, then conference call. That was a really tough thing. Again, deadlines are deadlines. As a result of that, I actually moved my late submission policy. Unless you're in the hospital at 6 p.m., it's 6 p.m. Not 6:15. 6:01. Sure. I'm not going to kill you completely for that. But if you think that if we have, let's say, on Friday 8 p.m.s, if you think Friday 8 p.m. you show up at 12:30 and you don't even have it done at 12:30 in the paper version, we have to have a conversation, or not, just assign a grade. Had that happening, I had a student who insistently, or consistently, was very consistent, to show up on the 8:30 till 12:30 class lecture around 10:30. 6 out of 8 sessions because of traffic. You can plan for that, even if it's raining in hurricane season. So, right, enough mood killing. Sorry, it's the first session. We'll realize this is totally changed. All right, midterm we talked about assignments are quick and easy. We'll need some coloring pencil or graphics pencil for them. So don't wait until next Friday to go to Target or Hobby Lobby. Yeah? Don't buy $50 in pens, in pencils. Don't. You need 5 or 6 colors. That's it. And group work, that's an important part because it's part of your grade. At the end of this class, I will ask everyone to do a peer review. Yeah? So hypothetically, let's say there's a group of 6 people. You guys would be the group of 6 people. We'll pick them. I will ask everyone in this group do a peer review. RJ is reviewing Grant, Kathleen, Katerina, Evan, and Louis. Not Jesus, Louis. Louis Mendes. He's writing one for all of you, each. He's also writing about himself, why he was so great in this class, in this team. Grant is doing the same thing. For everyone in the team, short paragraph about, this is as you would do it in a professional HR review within your team, your supervisor. Short paragraph, what went wrong, what went great, and you give actually an estimation of the points received, to be received for the student. Yeah? 100% is the A++, follows the grading schema. If you say, oh, I'm going to give this person 50 points out of 100, that's technically an F, yeah? Following the grading schema. So this is aligned with our grading schema. Now what I will do is, I will take a look at who's whom giving points, what's my impression on that, and we'll take the mean on this. Usually it's straight up. The mean of the group will take your, what your 5 team members said about you and propose as a grade will be this on you. I had that as 40%. I actually dropped it now to 20 because people are freaking out about that. People are freaking out also about the challenge to actually write 1 and 2 sentences about their fellow teammates. This is part of your daily job if you're doing management later. No? You said you're property management. You always write a reference letter or a pink slip to someone.
This could be 2 or 3 pages.
Yeah.
If you have a staff
5 to
of
6
10, 12.
sentences. Did a good job, nice person, 100% is not satisfying. Yeah? Giving your team, all your team, just everyone 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. You guys are not perfect, we are not perfect, there's always a little bit happiness and friction. Think about your family on Thanksgiving. There's always fight about the gravy and then he said, she said. Same thing here with team presentation and report. For the emphasis and the terror I will impose on you, and it sounds like terror. I'm doing about presentation stuff and skills. This is fairly low. But the whole team is responsible for that. The whole team will be graded for that presentation because the whole team will present. Yeah? So as of today, we are in practice how to speak publicly and present work. Okay? No black background, 12 font size, white labels. I can show you guys, this is terrible. Same thing with the team report. After this whole semester is done, your teamwork, your gaming is done, you gotta write this down because there are certain protocols in that game setup. where you just write a short report, recommendations, judging your pro and cons, and present the challenges, and your financial concept, because you actually have an Excel spreadsheet, you crunch numbers. It's not a spreadsheet like you would do with Fred Foggy, but it's a good start. Yeah? To understand if you put 50,000 square foot here versus 20,000 foot there, what's the difference? How does it interact with parking spaces and revenue? Right? And at the end of the day, we got 100%, and we're going to be happy. And this is, we talked about this, you can read this in your syllabus. Let's do a 5-minute break and then kick it. If you are not going to the bathroom, you are more than welcome to run up to the lobby and back 2 rounds through the atrium before you fall asleep. Seriously, I can see people rolling their eyes like.
Oh, look to my kids.
I have Archie that lives close by.
I just tell my kids all about sleeping.
Like, Archie, come up on the weekends, I'll come down there. I just came back from Toronto.
Oh yeah, you were just there? How do you like it?
I have a lot of Iranians there, man.
Yeah, there is.
A lot. A lot of my friends from Dubai are moving to Toronto.
Very multicultural, because that guy recently had some. It's the most multicultural city in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's known for being.
Are we playing with Legos today?
It's a great city.
Yeah, it's getting expensive now.
Yeah, it is.
Every home in North York was like 2-3
Oh,
million.
the real estate's like extremely
Ridiculous.
expensive there. But I mean, the Canadian dollar is also like 20-30% like less,
Yeah,
right?
30%
So
less,
for
yeah.
coming to the US, like yeah. So it's like if you're going to the US, it's like 25% less.
Yeah, it's 30% now.
Yeah, I think right now 25, but who knows? It goes.
Walk, move.
Yeah.
Get fresh air into your blood.
Professor,
Water. I'm good.
I was going to tell you, I used to work for this company. I recently left the company and I participated in this office building. We built it in Miramar. I was involved in the whole site plan approval process. And very difficult to work with city planners, landscape architects, civil engineers. It's like you say, it's a team, communication, and if people don't communicate, things go wrong.
Yeah, we did some really fun projects, small scale for a small town, but was all communicated very well. It's Friday night.
No, this one.
The GIS. That's a week later. When are you back from your cruise?
Saturday, she said, but Saturday night. Saturday night, she said.
You have a Mac you can't use, you can't work.
Yeah, I have a Mac. That's why I was thinking about.
I can give you a laptop.
Or if you can give me the assignment this week.
Do the skills. Are you close by to campus? Can send me an email with the figures. We have very old machines.
Maybe if
We
I
have very
can.
old students, and we have to inform them.
Hey, how are you?
How's it going?
Good, good.
Good.
What's the summer?
Maybe they
I'm busy.
You still working in the break room area?
Well, more like my beach, but Brickle too. I do a little bit of Brickle, but all of my listings and stuff like that are in beach, yeah.
Then it says,
But yeah, I was busy between that,
work on
school
that,
and
so we
traveling.
get actually textbooks.
Yeah, I just registered for pre-license,
Oh, yeah?
locals.
Uh-huh.
But right now, it's not flexible. I have no idea about
I
gas.
took it online the
Seriously?
first time, now I'm
It was
taking
like,
workers class
Nice,
there.
you can
Actually,
do that.
No, I have
yeah.
to. Because I have
I
2
took
hours.
my test next week.
2 hours more of
But,
lecture.
yeah, it's like,
So many rules. And
Okay.
yeah.
APR, frag.
But is it like you
I'm not kidding with the 5 minutes. I'm not.
Like, review for me for everything that I learned in the last year, at least for the course.
Next week, I'm teaching
It's like investments in finance. I just learned that in business this summer.
Yeah, I just joined the program, of course, this is my second week.
Oh, okay, which one?
They want either round.
Oh, yeah, so I don't know.
Einstein isn't open.
Sorry? It's a great professor.
I mean, I'm not going
What day
right
is
now,
your
but.
classes?
They should be
Mondays,
open.
Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Oh.
6:30.
Well, yeah.
Thursday, so I miss you.
I thought,
But yeah,
I'm pretty
they're
sure
all
it's a
day
full class,
from
but.
like 9 to 6.
Professor,
Oh, so you really take a big course.
So the Cuba,
Yeah,
the
well,
Cuba
this is
trip
like,
is an offside of class?
about that.
Yeah, so next week.
so you're just a public class and your additional fee is.
I don't want to argue about these schools.
Yeah, I do. What I'm saying is, he's not taking GIS.
Yeah, right now I'm going crazy. I have classes here. No, no, I don't. License, job,
I think
and
he's
also
one of the
doing
traders who's.
No, I'm saying, but
It's sure, but
a
it's.
reading class.
if that works, can I do that next
Yeah,
semester?
good luck.
Thanks a lot. What's that course?
But I think
That's just because
Yeah.
the director, I was surprised that he actually granted you that. But it's an individual decision, the director. All right. I have a lecture on land use planning. If you want to listen to it, you want to sit down and listen. Good. Like half of the class is standing. It's like, okay, guys. All right. What I'm trying to do is, I try to run through about 50 slides in about an hour to give you more time for actually getting exposed and play with the duplos. Duplos aside, we need to go through some of the theory and particular Lynch's book. So it's not. I'm trying to add a lot of stories and additional information to draw a larger picture. I'm feeding from multiple decades, traveling worldwide for school, for private fun, and some places I did revisit, and it's always great to see that an example from class triggers someone's experience in the field and they're taking a picture. So one of the PowerPoints, not today, this is theory of design, but next few weeks we're going to have a town called Heidelberg in Germany. Beautiful little city, beautiful red sandstone castle on top. There's this one picture about the open public library. Just a simple bookshelf on a wall and someone is digging into books. Happens to be that I actually had a student from this program sending me a picture. He was out with the kids and found in front of a law firm a funny looking box which was like this public library or neighborhood library where it basically looks like a dog house. Bunch of books, you don't have to check them out, check them in with cards, you just go and take one, read it and bring it back a few days later. Like great stories that students like, hey, I saw this concept in your class, and I'm trying to actually put this into concept here. Okay, what I try to solve right now is the problem about site planning, what it is, what it does, why do we need it, and actually do we need it. Yeah? Some cities plan without plans, like the city of Houston, and we're gonna figure this out, what's going on. And one example is this. You're supposed to play this from the speakers.
I can hear it.
So all the examples where you need to test things. How about that?
There we go.
Urban planning is the marriage between people and their surroundings. It is how the built environment influences human behavior and interaction. Studying urban planning is daylighting the frameworks and systems that shape our cities and the lives of people within them. The built environment and our human place within it aren't accidental. Urban planning is about peeling away the gloss and brushing away the grit to grasp that cities are human creations that we all have the power to change.
What does an urban planner do? Well, don't you ever wonder who decides where the bus stops go? I do. I decide. With other people's help, of course. Urban planning shapes where we live, work, and play, all of which affect our health. It requires us to be intentional about how we plan, design, and distribute those spaces in order to promote better health and social outcomes.
Planning is based in the belief that cities and communities are malleable products of developers, governments, and individuals. Planners inform policy and dissect the complex social and physical fabric of urban environments. Urban planning is shaping the built environment at a scale that is relevant to the human experience.
Right, why would we plan then? What are the reasons why we would plan?
To organize human behavior. Control
Let's go
conduct.
deep. What else?
Maximize social outcomes.
What?
That's what they said. So improve social outcomes.
Okay.
Maximize efficiency.
Maximum efficiency.
Make better cities and better places to live.
Yeah.
Quality of life.
What else?
Shape our cities.
Resource management? Profit? Maybe for that? They have been very idealistic in terms of why I'm an urban planner, because I create places. Well, we are real estate development. Are we planners? No. Why would we create places? Why would you create a shopping center?
So that people could use to get the things they need to maximize outcomes. I mean,
Everyday human needs. It has to be.
Yeah, we serve everyday's human needs. As a planner, you're more looking at the community needs. As the real estate developer, you're looking more at your personal needs than the community, and vice versa. Yeah. Jumping a little bit the gun, but what are places?
What are places?
What are places? Person talked about creating places. What are places?
What's the
It's a feature of a place.
location on the map.
Interaction spaces where, definitely interaction space between people.
Okay, let's dissect this. What did he just say? Interaction spaces between people.
Naming for
Nature. Shared.
His definition of places are interactive spaces, interaction spaces with people. All right, the textbook definition is spaces are places with felt value, identity, and culture. Home sweet home is probably the strongest identity to a place you can give and felt value. My home is